Hello, everyone. Welcome back to The Olive Orchard, a podcast about nothing important, really. I'm just here with stories, advice, chats, and lighthearted ramblings for your background entertainment. I'm Autumn Olive, crochet fashion designer, host of this podcast, and I am someone who enjoys dry cereal. Cinnamon Toast Crunch and Captain Crunch are my personal favorites for that. Thanks for tuning in to my little radio show. I hope you're doing all right. So in today's episode, I wanted to cover a little bit about running a business online. So this last episode, I spoke about, running a business as a crochet pattern designer, but this one is more about the advertising aspects and the social media and everything. So it could apply to you if you don't have a crochet business, if you just have some other online business, but hopefully the information will be helpful for you. So before we get into that, I would like to provide you with some recommendations. So a fun snack that I've had a few times is cream cheese and celery. I don't know how common this is. I only ever heard about it a few years ago, and I have only eaten it a few times, but it's actually really good. You cut little, like a couple inches of pieces of celery, and then you just smear like a little dollop of cream cheese in them, and it is actually super good. Next, something to listen to. I wanted to recommend another podcast to you. This one is called Ologies, and the host is Allie Ward. It's about different topics, mostly scientific topics, biology topics, anything like that. She interviews different ologists or people who study one specific area. So, even if you aren't interested in, science so much, I guarantee that you'll still find this interesting because I am not too into science. I just wanted something a little bit educational to listen to feel productive sometimes. And this is perfect for that because it's funny. It's so heartwarming that these scientists and ologists and stuff are so passionate about their field. Allie, the hosts, ask them really simple questions. So, you're getting just the basic knowledge, and then she asks questions from listeners and stuff. And, there's just tons of topics from like crows to bones to pumpkins to trains to postcards to stamps to you name it. And I just really like that podcast. I've been listening to that one for a few years now. So yeah, go check it out if it sounds like it would be interesting to you. Next, a song to listen to. The song is called Infatuation, and then the artist is in all caps PNK space FME. I'm not sure how that would be pronounced, but I really like this song. It popped up on my Spotify Discover Weekly a few years ago, and it's always cool to listen to when it comes on. I haven't listened to any other songs by that artist, but they might be good as well. And then something else that I am grateful for. I am really grateful for social media and internet. It sounds like, so basic, and it's definitely something that we take for granted. But, there's plenty of people in this country and other countries that don't even have access to internet. Either they can't afford it or they live in remote areas. And so, I've spoken to people like that before, and they're just at such a disadvantage to run a business if they wanted to, because they're limited to more old-fashioned means, selling in person, selling locally, and advertising through newspapers, radio, maybe, or only being able to access online resources when they are in the vicinity of a computer and internet. So I'm just, reminding myself to be thankful for all the things that I have and that technology has been able to provide for me. Next, a review for one of my patterns. This review was by Shannon, and this was on my Mabel Pines pullover pattern, and I am working on a second edition of that. It will have, I think, 20 more sweater designs. So Shannon says, "Love these. They are so cute and literally such a good deal. You would be stupid not to buy these patterns. You're bound to find something you like, or if you're like me, find multiple things. My friend is begging me to make her." Blah. I just thought that was so funny. Because, we all have friends who are like, "Oh my gosh, make me everything." And, I just thought that was cute. Okay, so let's get into this. How to small business, my tips. So you want to start a business. You need to consider what kind of business. If you're doing custom work, you might want to make some examples, build up a portfolio. If you're going to be making inventory to start off with, you will need to plan ahead and make several things. I would suggest starting with things of a different price point, and don't go crazy with colors, don't go crazy with patterns. When you're just starting out with your inventory, you want to create a nice selection of basics. So neutral colors, common colors, and, simple designs that a potential customer could use for many different things. And then if, your business fails and you didn't sell any of it, then you can either wear it yourself or re-gift it or something like that, and, or recycle the materials, etc. But at least it was just, basic designs that can go several different ways. And then you also need to make sure, are you going to be able to keep up with the demand, right? So if you're doing custom designs, say you're making tables. If it takes you a week to make a table, and if you potentially sold 4 tables a month and made one per week, is that going to be enough income? Are you going to have enough time to do that? Or should you kind of rethink, maybe get somebody to go in on it with you, or, plan around it, maybe sell tables and some other accessories so that you can kind of have multiple streams of income, or something like that. But you want to make sure that you will be able to keep up with demand and also still remain profitable. So you would consider your pricing on that, and expenses and so on. So risks and investments are one of the first things you will face when starting a business. So some examples of that would be putting a down payment on a host site so that you can get a web domain, or buying advertising. So whether you do online promotions or get business cards to hand out and hang up around town, You might need to invest in materials to make your product. You might need to invest in materials to ship your product. And you will probably spend a few $100s. So try to really, plan out how you can make your money back, quickly enough so that you can start making a profit. So for your business, for any business, you always want to have good, professional looking photos. So photos on your website, photos on your social media, even videos. So the best way to do that, you could get a ring light to create an artificial lighting, or maybe like a close-up lighting, or more of a spot-on kind of glare. But the very best thing to do is use natural sunlight. That really improves the clarity of your photos. You will want to have a clean background. You want nice neutral backgrounds and complementary props if needed. You want all your focus to be on the product, and you want your product to look appealing. You want it to look like, oh, this would look great in my house, or this would look great if I was wearing it, or, this would look great in my closet. If there's wrinkles in the fabric or junk in the background, that does look unappealing to a potential customer. And when you take your photos, you want to make sure you grab a few different angles. You want to take it, front on, something that might show its size. If you are hanging your item, make sure that you use a neutral hanger, a wire hanger, white hanger, or wood hanger. I personally would prefer not to use just, plastic hanger, but if that's all you have, that's fine. Just try to make it white or black, or beige even, but just don't go with bright colors, because, if you look at something like a lineup of items on a website, you would want the hanger to be all the same color, probably. So you just want to make sure that it's white or something, so that way if you use like a blue hanger and then it breaks on you, you can keep up with the consistency because you used a white one, and then that can easily be replaced. Another tip is to use a filter on your photos. I always use a filter at 20% so that it's not really taking away from the color of the item, but that when all my items are seen together, that it looks cohesive. And if it's clothing items that you are trying to sell, then put them on and make an outfit out of it. I personally think that I could have done more for this for my own business, but I'm also providing advice here that I can use in the future. So go online and look at different online shops like Old Navy or Tommy Hilfiger, even Shein and Cider. You can go and look at their photos and take notes of how they're styling it. Like sometimes I see that they do flat lays and then they put out like jeans and a handbag and stuff, so that you can kind of get an idea of how can this object be incorporated into my wardrobe or my lifestyle. If you're selling tables, you'll put the table in a living room with couches and put stuff on the table so people can actually see how it looks. And most companies that I've seen do this in some way. They stylize their products, and that is a great tip that I want to incorporate more myself. Stop. My cats are fighting, and I have to keep stopping and getting up and breaking up the fight. They're just being loud right here where I'm trying to record. It's so annoying. Okay, so next, the social media algorithm. We all hate it. It seems to feel impossible. It seems to keep on changing. But it is important to, pay attention to what's going on. Sometimes if it does change, you'll see posts about it, like on Instagram. Now, the save feature is the most beneficial one compared to like the like feature or the comment feature that previously was the most influential type of interaction on a post. So, if you see somebody talking about it, listen up and take note of what they say and give it a try at least. If, try it for, a week or whatever. And if you see that your posts are doing worse than before, then go back to the old way, or, incorporate maybe a little bits of it that work for your page. But you definitely have to keep up with what's going on and kind of research it. But the biggest thing that you can do to help yourself is to interact with others in an organic way. Do not do spam likes. This can actually hurt, the spam liker and the spam likee, because Instagram or any other social media sees it as a maybe fake or a bot or something, because people buy likes all the time. So that's what I've heard, that it kind of maybe flags you and could shadow ban you. So I don't do spam likes on anybody's stuff. Sometimes I get them, but I can't really avoid that. Not everybody's going to know that. And as far as I know, I don't think I've been shadow banned from it, but don't do that anymore. I know it used to be something that might have been helpful, but don't do it anymore. But yeah, interacting with people in an organic way, sharing their posts, commenting on their posts, more than a few words, comment something meaningful, something that can catch their attention. You don't want to, explicitly ask people to share you back or explicitly ask people to follow you, because that is a little bit disrespectful. Because like for me, I restarted my Instagram 3 times, my crochet Instagram, because I followed a bunch of pages just to get follows back. And then after I didn't care about that anymore, I realized that my page was just feeling really cluttered with just unappealing photos and things. And, certain pages, I'm not trying to be rude here, but I really like my social media experience to be curated. Like, I like to only follow pages if I actually like what they're posting. If there's a page that's posting crochet stuff, but half the time they're posting family photos, I might unfollow them because I am just not interested in seeing that. And it's nothing against anybody. It's just my personal preference and my personal right. And so if I don't like what you're posting, then I probably won't follow you. And I think that's perfectly fine. And the same goes if you're asking people to share your post. There's nothing really wrong with that, but it is considered, not rude. I don't think people are trying to be rude, but, everybody had to work hard for their following. So you should just be organic about it, be nice, and eventually people will want to share your things. If you're posting nice photos, you're posting nice work, people will want to share it. So you just kind of have to earn it organically. Unless you want to pay somebody to post to you, that's different. Somebody might be offering that. That's totally cool. Or you can pay Instagram to promote you, which is not as good as earning followers organically. But, just don't take advantage of people because they have a higher following. Just keep following the rest of the tips and then you will get there. Okay, so some other tips in this category. It seems to be more beneficial to post smaller amounts of consistent activity versus huge chunks of inconsistent activity. So like me, for example, I have a Pinterest, but I'm really bad at updating it. So, every 3 months or something, I would go back on there and then, post a bunch of my stuff on there. But it would have been better if I was updating it weekly with, 1 or 2 posts, just to, again, put off a more organic look for the algorithm. Another tip that I've heard about, you should always use different hashtags. I have a few notes of sets of hashtags that I rotate through, because if you're using the same exact hashtags on every single post, that can also look spammy or look like a bot. But I always use all of the hashtags that I am able to. I don't think that it looks bad. I don't think anybody cares. I mean, we all know what hashtags are for. So, just go wild with the hashtags, but make sure to mix them up. Make sure you study trends. Set aside time. I can be bad at this. I try to go onto TikTok, and I try to avoid TikTok really, but it needs to be done. You need to study what's going on. So, I go on there to try to study the trends, and then I'm like scrolling through a bunch of stuff that's irrelevant to my business. So, try to sit down for 5-10 minutes every day or so and go through like your following tab instead of the explore. You can do the explore sometimes too, but make sure that you look at who you're following, because that's going to be more relevant to you, I believe, and see what's going on, see what the trends are, trending sounds, trending, like on Instagram at the end of the year, there's like the art versus artist and the end of the year stuff. So, if you see people doing that stuff, hop on, because, that can help you get introduced to accounts that you wouldn't have otherwise. Another tip that I have for the algorithm, because it's kind of hard to stay consistent every day, you can always prep in advance. I like to take photos of my products right when I'm finished with them. I go ahead and crop them and put my watermark on them, and then, put them in a folder for later. At some points I've had up to 3-4 weeks worth of Instagram posts, photos ready, because I was working in advanced. So if you can do that, that's always helpful. Make a bunch of TikToks on one single day while you have, your hair and makeup looking all right. And, then you can just put them in the drafts and edit them later. So that's one of my biggest tips, is to work ahead and prep in advance. So that way, when you sit down to do something, it's a little bit easier. Okay, so next tip, customer service. Customer service is always important, but Etsy, if you use Etsy, they have a feature called Star Seller, and it's kind of hard to accomplish if you're not. The hardest thing about it is that you need to make a certain amount of income, and you need to also make I think it's 90%, 95% positive reviews during the month. And those are things that are kind of out of your control. But something that is in your control is that you respond quickly to customers. I think it's within an hour, a few hours. Sometimes I get messages overnight, and so I don't reply to them for 8 hours, but that doesn't seem to affect it, because I keep on getting the Star Seller badge lately. So I guess that I'm responding to customers fast enough. I don't know if there's a specific time limit that they have listed. I didn't see it, but you should always respond fast to customers. They always seem to appreciate when I do. You should be kind but informative. If somebody is asking you questions that were already addressed in the pattern, for example, you can tell them, you can answer their question and then tell them, just make sure to carefully reread the notes section in case there's any other information that might have been missed. Because sometimes people, they just don't know. So, as long as you're answering them, helping them out, and then letting them know a tip for the future to try to avoid having any more concerns. Another example would be if a customer purchases a pattern from you and then they are expecting a physical product. That happened to me only a couple of times. One of the times was that the girl said that she wasn't very good at reading English. So I refunded her. Sometimes people do this as a scam, but I just went ahead and refunded her because I didn't want any kind of negativity. And when she bought the pattern, she did leave a note that said she wants like a purple in a size small. And so I didn't notice that at first, and then she messaged me like a month later and said, I'm wondering where my sweater is. And so I explained to her that anything that says pattern is not going to be a physical product, and anything that costs like less than $20 is probably not going to be a sweater, a handmade sweater, because these things take 10 plus hours to make. So, I was really nice about it, but I explained that to her. And so maybe even though she can't read the full description in English, maybe will just be a couple of clues that will help her along the way and to help any of my other fellow pattern writers so that they don't have that happen to them. And like if somebody is trying to argue with you about price or something like that, then you can just kindly explain to them why your things are priced this way, how long it takes, the materials, and so on. And, so that way they will know for the future and that they maybe won't, be questioning somebody else. So next, how to compete with fast fashion or big businesses. You should always be making timeless pieces, good quality pieces, quality over quantity. A Shein item is going to last for a month, but if you're making good quality pieces and providing quality care instructions, your items will last for years. Another good thing, and you can always advertise all this stuff in your listings in order to inform customers about why handmade items can be better than fast fashion. Another thing is that they can be tailored and custom. If you're doing custom designs, it's going to be a better fit than anything that you could get from a big box store. And, timeless pieces means, you're not following trends. You're not making something that's going to be out of style in the next season. You're making quality basics and staples and versatile statement pieces that people can use for years to come and for many different events and occasions. So next, how to get commissions if you're interested in doing custom sales. I haven't done too many of these, but you definitely want to have out clear contact information. You want to have, custom listings available, some reasons on why they would want to buy it, and examples, which I mentioned before. For this one, make sure that you're advertising locally and with family. I used to feel guilty about family buying my stuff. I still do, but, for a while, it was a lot of family and friends interested in buying my stuff, so I could only mark it down so much and still make a profit. There's nothing wrong with that. If you're making quality items, your friends and family will be happy to support you. So advertise locally, get some business cards or make your own. I had some cardstock, and I just, taped. I had some cardstock, and I cut it into business card size pieces, and then I printed out my logo, and so then I glued the little strips of logo onto my cards, and then I wrote down really small in pen my website and like my Instagram and TikTok and stuff. And I have yet to hand one out, but I made them because in like 1 week I had 2 of the same instance. I was wearing something out to the store, and then somebody asked me, about my business. They said, "Oh, did you make that?" And I said, "Yeah." And I didn't have a business card to hand them. And they were working, so they didn't even have their phone on them. So, it was like, write it down on a slip of paper or try to memorize it. But if I had had a business card at that moment, then I could have handed her a business card. And then maybe there would have been a better chance of a business transaction there. And then another circumstance was that I was at the dentist and I had brought some crochet to work on. And then the girls at the office were curious about it and stuff. And I told them my Instagram, but I don't know if they looked it up or cared to or what. But, if I had a business card, I could have just handed it over or whatever. So, then I sat down and I made like 10 of them. I just sat down for like an hour and figured out how to make them. Now that I know how I would want them to be laid out, I could probably make more than that in an hour, but they came out pretty cute, and I put a little bit of washi tape on there, and yeah, they look cute. They're in my wallet, so in case anything like that happens again, I will have a business card that I can hand over. And if you're doing commissions, just be patient. I have 15,000 followers on my Instagram and now about 7,000 followers on my TikTok, and I don't get that many commissions. I have a couple here and there, but there's nobody beating down my door. So just be patient with the commissions and keep on creating neutral and versatile pieces so that if you don't end up making commissions, you can still post those items on your website or whatever and offer them to sell, but then people can browse through what you've made, and they'll be able to see your craftsmanship and have a better idea of if they do want to place a commission. So for me, I don't want to do commissions at the moment. So I set up a referral program. I mentioned this in the last episode as well, but this was just, I made a Google Doc form for people to apply, and they had to tell me a little bit about themselves and how long they've been crocheting and show me some examples of their crochet. And then once I confirmed that, their stitches look neat and everything, and that this is something that, is as good as something that I would sell, I accepted them into the program. And if and when I do get commissions, then I will send the commission into my group chat and see which of my referrals is available to accept that commission and create the piece. And then, we communicate back and forth a little bit with the customer about price and stuff. And if it all looks good, then, the customer can go on with the referral and then they can complete the transaction. And the main reason I wanted to do this is because I felt bad, turning people away when they asked me if I had open commissions. I like this better because then I can at least provide them with somebody who is creating quality pieces. So my next tip is to set goals. Set big goals and small goals and break them all down into steps that can be done in one sitting. So like an example, if I want to, like this skirt that I'm working on, the first step is, to figure out how to make the dress. And then the next step is, drafting up the pattern and then taking photos of the progress of the skirt and editing the pattern and editing the photos into it and, weave in the ends and get final photos of the product and edit the final photos and then make your drafts on your website. And those are all steps that can be done in one sitting. And so, they take an hour or two or whatever. And that really makes it easy to, accomplish things, because I like to have a few different things going on at once. I've got this podcast now, and I'm starting to do YouTube tutorials, and I'm still making patterns and creating personal projects and, other things like that, drawing stickers. So I rotate between different projects, and it's really helpful to have, quick steps that I can just cross off my list, and, before I know it, I'm closer to the finished product. And then another thing is that when you have your list of goals, you can continually revisit and update old goals, improve on them or change them to fit your current needs. Don't let them get lost. Just adjust them if needed. Okay, another tip, studying others. I kind of mentioned this before, the TikTok trends, the hashtag trends, on Instagram, those story tap-ins, or if people tag you to do your favorite stuff. I don't do that enough, but I do get tagged on that sometimes, and that's supposed to help your engagement as well. So always just do those. They take a few minutes and could help you out. If it doesn't, well, at least you tried. Take note of when people start to advertise holiday stuff or seasonal stuff, and then, hop on the train at the same time as them. Get an idea for what kinds of things people talk about in captions and trending designs. I said before, you want to keep a variety of basics, but, you can also throw in some trending designs like the bodyless sweater or the sweater sleeves only. I made those last winter, and, those are a semi-popular trend, and, so if there's another trend like the balaclavas, I made some of those. So it's always fun to, hop on the trends, but always keep your majority of things, timeless basics, so that you can have a little variety of both. Okay, so my next step is staying motivated. Take plenty of breaks so that you don't get burnout. Take plenty of physical breaks so that you don't hurt yourself. Make something for yourself once in a while. Treat yourself. Connect with your community. Dream big and exude confidence to keep yourself accountable. If you tell people, oh yeah, I'm gonna make so much inventory, and I'm gonna go to the craft fair, and I'm going to, sell out of 80% of my merchandise. I mean, that's way better than being negative to yourself. Even if you don't sell 80%, even if you only sell 10%, even if you don't even make the entry fee back, at least that you were confident about it. And you've got nothing to lose then. So, and keep on adding to your ideas list. One of the main things that keeps me motivated is that my things that I want to make list is so long that I can't stop now, because there's so many things still left on my list. And I always try to go in order so that I, if I have a super exciting idea that's like 3 projects away, I leave it there 3 projects away, and, go through those other projects, and, it keeps me excited that I have something to look forward to. Okay, another tip, this is a more serious one. Keep track of all your expenses and profits and organize them about every season or so. That way, when tax season comes around, then it's just down to summarizing things. Last year, I had to sit down. It took me like 4 hours to go through all my receipts and everything and put it down into a spreadsheet. I worked with a tax pro, so I really believe that having my things organized helped me get a lower rate, because if, they're spending more hours, trying to wrangle up all your information, trying to add everything together, I had everything on a simple spreadsheet so that it was way easier to get the math down, and, I had everything broken down. So I didn't do it throughout the year last year, but this year I am, and so I know that when tax time comes around, I'm going to be spending like an hour finishing up everything, because it's already going to be organized. It's already going to be laid out how I want to do it. But instead of spending, 5 hours, and I'm spending like an hour every few months, or, 10 minutes a week, whatever works for you, but just don't leave it all to the last minute. And my final tip, never compare yourself to others. It feels impossible when you're looking at hundreds of others' success all at once when you only have 24 hours in a day. You know, every one person can only accomplish so much. You know, when you go onto Instagram, you're seeing people success left and right. But the reality is they were in the same boat as you, working hard to get every little success. So you instead must think, wow, that is inspiring. That'll be me soon. Let me analyze my personal success and focus on the steps I need to keep moving forward. So I really hope these tips will help you feel more confident in your business ventures. I hope that it'll help you get past, the social media blues. I have not gotten this far without plenty of tears. But, still, there's people doing way better than me. But I'm only responsible for my own past, and I'm way better than I was a few months ago and just miles ahead of where I was last year. So yeah, that's all I have. The cover art on this podcast was drawn by me on Procreate on my iPad. The intro and outro music was done by my boyfriend. Check out my YouTube for video episodes of this podcast and free crochet tutorials. Visit autumnolive.com to shop crochet pieces, patterns, and free patterns as well. Follow my Instagram, TikTok, Pinterest, Etsy, and Ribbler, all at Autumn Olive Crochet. And you can find this podcast on Spotify, Google Podcasts, and hopefully soon on Apple Podcasts. And you can email in regards to this show at the Olive Orchard Podcast at gmail.com. If you're still listening, I wanted to provide you with a little life hack, and that is blue light glasses. If you don't have these, they are really helpful if you get headaches from looking at screens, if you get fatigue in the eyes. These are not a myth. They actually work. At least for me. They might not work for you, but I've had great success with them when I'm on my computer all day. I just, throw those on, and, if you can do it ahead of time, that's even better. But even just putting them on provides a little bit of relief immediately. So, I have a couple of pairs of those, and I've been using them for years. And, they're really helpful, when you're sitting down writing something out or trying to edit a video or something. They are just a lifesaver. And there's some pretty cheap ones that you can get from Amazon, or, ask around, see if any of your friends have an extra pair, because I have a few pairs. So if somebody asked me for some, I would definitely lend them out or give them away. So thanks for listening. Bye.